Hey guys, Nash is back. I posted a question to both Facebook, Tumblr, and Twitter. And yeah, I had the awesome total of one response. Anyway, okay, so I broke the question up into three different segments. What are the basics that you need to know about paganism? What are the particular requirements, if any? And what are common myths and stereotypes? It's my handy dandy notebook. First off, what are the basics of just general broad paganism? Well, paganism itself is an umbrella term that encompasses basically anything that's not of an Abrahamic. Well, technically speaking, it is made up of everything that's not of Abrahamic origin. So basically any outlying. I mean, technically, if you really want to think about it, some people put like Hinduism into paganism. It depends on what you think. Like, I would consider Hinduism a major world religion, therefore I don't really consider it to be in the... But so, the basics that you would need to know to start off with is research the different branches, I guess, of paganism, such as the Norse, Celtic, Egyptian, Greek, Roman, what have you. Decide which one is sounding the best to you, or something that you would want to personally know more about, or what draws you to it the most. Once you are thrown into whichever one decides to stand out to you the most, research. Research is going to be your best friend. As a lot of people say, paganism is the religion that has homework, because there isn't really one book. It's not like Christianity where you have a Bible, or Islam where you have a Quran. There's a lot of different historical books, there's a lot of different mythology books, there's a lot of different resources that you can find to read about mythology, mythology-wise, and then there's, like, historical archaeological evidence of the people who used to practice it in Old Norse. You can read up on how the Old Norse used to live, their lifestyle, their particular, what we know of their religious practices, which isn't a lot because we don't have a lot of records. But anyway, the basics of paganism is basically just research. It's a lot of research, and I don't know if I can show. I also have a lot of different notebooks. So here's one notebook that I inscribed on that I write different stuff in. I'm gonna have to move my microphone really quick. Let's hope that doesn't make too much noise. We got a book on runes. We got another book on runes. We got the Poetic Edda. We got Neil Gaiman's retelling of Norse mythology, which is really good. Which, I don't know if anybody likes Neil Gaiman. I got this one, Liberal and Psychonaut. English words are good. Introduction to Chaos Magic. That's currently what my microphone is standing on. That's Edgar Allan Poe, if anyone's interested. And then we got a book on natural magic. We got the Saga of the Volsungs. I have another book on Galdr somewhere. I think it's out there. We got this one, which is this is volume 2. I don't know where volume 1 is right now. Point is, there's a lot of research, and there are a lot of books that you will have to read. But you can really, it's different for everyone, so you can kind of piece, because there's no rigid structure, you can kind of piece together your own practice. There's no guidebook, there's no rule book saying, this is wrong, you can't do that. Basically paganism is a free-for-all. Do your research, and then, based off of what you know and what you can learn, you can put together your own practice. And that goes into are there any particular requirements? There's no requirements. No. You can be whoever the hell and get into paganism. There's no there's no orientation. Broadly general paganism that's been long perceived to be dead for 1,000 years. Celtic, Roman, Greek, Norse, Egyptian, all of those, there's no real requirement, and the way you practice it is, it can be as eclectic as you want it to be. Here's a great montage of the altar I currently have. It's not the greatest. I put it together out of a bookshelf. I used to have a custom painted desk setup, but I had to get rid of that because it wouldn't fit in the moving van. So I had to put together all my stuff on a bookshelf from Target. That's it. I mean, your altar can be a desk space. It could be a single candle on your nightstand. There's no right or wrong way to put together your practice. So, in that respect, there's no real requirement. Probably the biggest requirement is research. Research is your best friend. Again, I mean, cross-referencing things, the things you read on the internet. If you get all of your information from, say, Tumblr, probably not the best place. I mean, look up well-renowned authors, historians like Jackson Crawford on YouTube is a great source for learning Old Norse, understanding more about Old Norse culture because he's a professor of the subject, and his voice is really great to listen to. Oh, hold on. Yeah, the poetic edda I have, let me move this, is actually, translated, edited, with introduction by Jackson Crawford. So, he's a good source if you're interested in learning more about Norse paganism in general. I'm not too well versed in any other branches and authors, but if you're interested in that one particularly, that's a great source of information. Speaking just generally on Norse as well, some people like to try and make requirements to be a Norse pagan, like, hey, you have to be at least 50% Scandinavian. Ah, shit, I don't qualify. No. Whereas some Facebook couch Vikings would like to tell you that that's a no-go. Guess what, couch Vikings? As far as Norse paganism goes, there's no requirement. Just do your homework. Just read the sagas, do your homework, stop saying you're going to Valhalla every 2 seconds. Common myths and stereotypes. In Norse paganism, probably the biggest stereotype itself is that everybody is a skinhead, Nazi, white supremacist, and that makes me angry, because I literally did a speech on Asatru, probably like 4 or 5 years ago now, and I literally had to dedicate the latter half of my speech to why this is not white supremacy, because the only articles I could find that were mainstream articles were all concerning how Asatru was a prison religion and everybody's a Nazi. And I'm like, okay, well, great. Now I have to write half of my speech dedicated to this is not a thing. And as much as Facebook likes to flag runes as hate speech, I refuse to let those assholes commandeer runes, because they do not own runes. That is not theirs. They don't get to play with them anymore. No, I mean, like, seriously, like, Mjolnir here is considered a hate symbol by the Defamation League, the Anti-Defamation League. Yeah, I mean, I get that there are some groups that try to, like, commandeer Mjolnir as a symbol of hate. They're a bunch of assholes, and we're not associated with them. They're in the dumpster right now. We don't like them, because they tend to try to talk over actual pagans, and they're probably the ones that are pseudo-Christian but still shouting that they're going to Valhalla. But no. So that is probably one of the biggest stereotypes. As paganism in general, I think there's a stereotype of how everybody's a kind of hippie dude, like, yeah, let me get my healing crystals out. Like, no. I mean, pagans can be anybody, but I feel like that's like the major hippie stereotype. Like, I don't vaccinate my kids. Like, no. Probably, of course, there's always the, oh, you're just a Satanist. No, that's not a thing. So probably those three, Satanist, hippie, and white supremacist, are probably the biggest stereotypes, which are all wrong. I hope this is coherent, I really do, because my notes are basically just bullet points of, here, elaborate on this point, and I'm like, yup, okay. So basically, the biggest thing, the biggest basic you have to know is just the basics of the particular branch you're trying to follow. Research is your best friend, and I mean, particular requirements, studying is the biggest requirement. There's no guard on most things. Like, for Norse, there's no requirements. Just do your homework. Homework's good. I mean, aside from that, and then, I mean, stereotypes, just ignore stereotypes. And ignore Facebook when they try to flag your rune posts because they're a bunch of assholes. That's probably my biggest complaint with Facebook is when you try to post like Othala and it's like, hey guys, Othala means family, remember? And Facebook's like, why are you such a fucking racist? And I'm like, I'm sorry? Zuckerberg, excuse me. And Zuckerberg's like, and I actually spent time writing out a thoughtful response to Facebook's flagging, being like, Othala means family. It's like, fucking Lilo and Stitch over here. Like, family can be whatever you want it to be. Like, it doesn't have to be bound by blood and all of this. I write out a damn thesis to Facebook, and Facebook's like, I'm pretty sure that Facebook doesn't actually read anything that I send to them, which is irritating, because the way I see it is that if you continuously keep allowing these people to commandeer these symbols, like Othala, and use it for bad things, then you're basically drowning out everybody who's trying to reclaim them as actual historical religious artifacts. Anyway, that's a stereotype. They're assholes. They do exist. But they're not affiliated with Norse paganism. We don't take responsibility for them. They can go burn in a dumpster fire. Yeah, I hope that clarified some points. At least I hope it clarified some points. I don't know if I've actually been rambling for the past 10 minutes, but if there's anything that anyone wants me to clear up or speak more about, then let me know in the comments, and I will get back to that and make another video on the subject. If anybody, aside from that one fantastic, awesome person, wants to know more or hear me run my mouth about paganism, sure. I mean, hit me up. I'll be here. So, until then, bye.